Welcome to the Good Good podcast. I'm your host, Dee Talley, mama, licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and embodiment coach. Here we dive deep into the realms of energy, consciousness, awareness, empowerment, and personal transformation to help you create a more vibrant and juicy life. Hello, my friends, and welcome. This is the Good Good with Dee Talley. I'm your host, Dee Talley. Ooh, ooh. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a good day when I get to turn on this microphone. So today, I don't live under a rock, and we have to talk about a couple of things from the past week. And this one is called the anger episode. And regardless of whether you are furious or elated at this moment, we're going to talk about some things that can be potentially helpful in the future if rage or anger or frustration or irritability ever enter the picture for you. So let's first talk about the presidential election. Okay. I'm just going to give opinions. This show isn't political. So my page is about helping people. It's about connection. It's about energetics and holistic healing and all of the things. I do have a couple of insightful tidbits that I think are useful to hear. You might hear a little bit about my own political views too. So I hope that this doesn't get me canceled. And I also hope that you can approach this with an open mind and an open heart. So the first thing that I will say is when I woke up on Wednesday morning to find out that Donald Trump was elected president, I felt a sinking sensation in myself. Now, this is for a couple of different reasons. The first one is when it comes to him as a person and not just politics, but values, core values. So for somebody who is an abuser, a felon, a narcissist, somebody who is, in my opinion, extremely mentally ill, can become the president-elect again, is slightly mind-boggling to me. But really what I think it does is it sheds light on the collective consciousness. And what I mean by that is over half of the US elected Donald Trump. Okay. So if that's true, then a little bit more than half of us, it shows you that the collective consciousness is vibrating really low, really low, really low, really low, right? And the way that we boost our collective is we do conscious work on ourselves because nobody can carry that torch for us. And we have the hard conversations and we have open dialogue with ourselves, with our traumas, with any shadows that are in ourselves, and we ask ourselves the hard questions. And so as somebody who's been raped and abused, the reason why my stomach was sinking is because I was like, wow, if Donald Trump, after all we know, right? Because like the first time around, we didn't have as much information. But this time around, we have a lot more information from legalities and abuse of power, abuse of money, abuse of name something. We have a lot more info now. And the fact that Donald Trump can become president again, to me, felt like if he can be president, then my rapist can too. And that's a hard pill to swallow. And you can see how survivors of sexual assault, rape, abuse might be extremely triggered because it just doesn't feel safe. As a woman, things aren't safe. as a survivor, things aren't safe. So extra care of cultivating safe space, super important right now for myself. I'll speak for myself. Now, many people want to nitpick out like reasons why, he's the better candidate, and whether they're going to say border or they're going to say economics. I just think that you can't overlook some of the other stuff, the big stuff, a lot of big stuff. And I found myself just like my stomach sunk, but then I got mad. And we're going to talk about anger. We're going to talk about anger from a TCM perspective and how you constructively, therapeutically vent anger. But I think for the people who say, how could you do this to me? How could you elect Donald Trump? It's like if I said it, right? How could you do this to me to elect Donald Trump when I'm a survivor of rape and sexual assault? I think we miss the boat if we actually say shit like that, because it's not about me, right? It's not about you. It's about the collective. And the reason why I'm even talking about this is because I care a lot about humanity, and about healing and wellness and living your highest and best self in a life that you love and that you look forward to and that you feel well in. And I think that a collective that is pissed off at each other and that is disowning each other and creating, breaking apart families and taking it as personally as we are, actually creates a consciousness of separation and fear. And as we all know, a collective that is scared and separated is more easy to manipulate. Yo. Sam agrees. Yo, this is going to be the last time that I invite you to come up here, Sam, while I'm recording. I know he's trying to protect me from the wind. Anywho, so a collective who is scared and separated is a lot more easy to manipulate. And so what do? We have to feel our feelings, get mad, constructively vent our feelings, and keep fighting for what's right. Because if we actively believe that a person, whether that is Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, is going to save us, we are fucked. To put it bluntly, we are fucked. Okay? So, we have to put our focus on ourselves. We have to put our focus on ourselves, and we have to put our focus on coming together as a collective, as whole selves, as whole beings, as ourselves, right? And so, I'm starting this off with a talk about politics in the election. But again, this episode is about anger in any regard, and how anger impacts the body and how anger creates separation. And anger is an emotion that feels scary sometimes because it's a big emotion. It's a strong emotion and it moves upwards in the body. And so it can be a little intimidating to sit with and to be with. I'm going to stop talking about politics now. And so if you feel your feelings and you process and you're moving forward, there's hope. There's hope. There's always hope. And, positive Polly, there's always hope. But if we separate, we're disempowered. And we, as a collective, can't shift anything if we're disempowered. Now, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, emotion is a disease evil. What that means is it's a cause, it's an etiology, it's a cause of disease. And this is studied. like repressed, all the emotions, not just anger, can cause illness, can cause cancer, can cause all kinds of different diseases. And like I was saying before, anger energetically in our bodies rise up. So it comes up. And so this creates things such as, especially like repressed rage, causes headaches, causes facial flushing, causes headaches or migraines even, causes dizziness, causes tinnitus or ringing in the ears, can cause a lot of upper body issues. You know, you're wearing your shoulders as earrings, these types of things. And in Chinese medicine, the organ that's associated with anger is the liver. So actually, the worst thing that you could do if you're angry is drink. Because two things. One, drinking will cause you to dissociate from the upset. And two, your liver is already taxed because you're angry. So therefore, if you drink on top of being angry, this is like you're giving your liver the 1-2 punch. So there's actually 3 worst case scenarios. The first one is, which I kind of just touched on, is you rot. And there's a difference between rot and rest. But rot meaning you dissociate, and you can do that through anything. You can do that through substances, drugs, alcohol. You can do that through food or sex or even Netflix or scrolling on social media. Those are ways in which you can dissociate. So when you're dissociated, you're not quite in your body. You're not feeling your feelings. You're not in the moment. You're not, you're potentially and maybe purposefully distracting yourself, and it can actually be used as a tool in a certain way. But when it comes to actually venting normal human emotion, dissociate is one of the worst things that we can do. The next is pretending like you're good. So this is also kind of a double whammy, because if you are fucking furious and you pretend like you're good, you are repressing that anger. You are trying to shove it down in your body when it's trying to go up and out, right? And then the last thing that you can do, worst case, is you can blow up at unsuspecting victims when really whatever you're blowing up about is not actually about that. It's about other things. I think we've all been there. I've definitely been there. So it's kind of like a redirection of that anger. It's not constructively vented. It's moved towards a different area that you didn't mean for it to do. Because that's the thing with anger. It can be so strong and so fierce that if repressed, especially, it can come out and up really fast and really aggressive when you don't actually mean for it to be like that. Now, just a brief pause. The liver in Chinese medicine is really important in the movement of qi. So when the liver is stagnated, what happens is the qi stagnates. The liver is also extremely active around the menstrual cycle. So that's why a lot of times you will see more irritability or frustration around both ovulation and pre-period, because these are both times where the liver is more active. Okay, so the liver is basically like in charge of the time, like right before your cycle starts. And if you have any stagnation in your body, it can become extremely apparent in the sense of PMS and PMDD type symptoms. And from a Western perspective, the liver helps to filter toxins, and it works with the kidneys to help flush out toxins. And so from both perspectives, the liver is actually, from both an Eastern and a Western perspective, the liver is extremely, extremely important. The liver can also be really impacted by diet because of the stress of some of the, crappy foods and the greasy foods. And this is getting into kind of liver gallbladder territory, because in traditional Chinese medicine, the liver and gallbladder are shared considered pair organs. So they are paired together. So they're both relevant to each other. So liver, as I was saying, energetically rises and it ascends upwards. So any type of grounding that we can do will be extremely helpful to vent anger and to just keep ourselves in, so that way we can be more aware of the movement of anger and the movement of it energetically. So there's different types of grounding. So I'm going to give you a couple. So the first is physical grounding. And physical grounding means that, like, literally you can be outside hugging trees or walking in the grass. So this is physically putting yourself in nature in order to help nature impact your energetics. So it basically helps assist you in down bearing that energy. So literally hugging a tree. I'm so serious right now too, by the way. Hugging a tree, walking around barefoot. Now it's a little bit cold to do that. Oh, the other really good one is swimming in natural bodies of water. This is why the ocean, especially super salty, is very, very, very grounding to be in. I love the ocean. It might not be a great idea to go outside and put my feet in the earth when the temperature is like 35 degrees. So until it actually starts to warm up, or like swim in the lake, like, are you kidding me? So actually, instead of physical grounding, we can use our breath to ground. So the way that I like to instruct my patients to do this is to place your hands on your belly, and especially right below your belly button. And you're going to breathe into this space that we call the dantian in Chinese medicine. And this is a little space about 1.5 to 2 inches below your belly button. So when you're breathing into that space, you are consciously aware of it. You're looking for the expansion and contraction of your breath, and you're directing it to your lower abdomen. And so what this does is it helps to ground and settle the spirit. You can also physically ground yourself by giving yourself acupressure or massage on your feet. So this is also a really amazing one when you can't actually get outside in nature. And you can press the bottoms of the feet. You can massage the bottoms of the feet. You can even use a mugwort, or we call this in traditional Chinese medicine moxibustion, but you can use like Palo Santo or any other type of incense to help bring energy in and down to the feet. So this is physical grounding. The next is visualization types of grounding. So this is really in your mind. So this is types of meditation grounding. And so there's a few ways. There's 2 ways. One that you can do a couple of different ways. So the first one is you actually visualize yourself as something in nature, i.e. a tree. Okay. So as you're standing, you're imagining that roots are growing out of your feet, and your body is the trunk, and your head, the branches come out. So you can actually put your senses into feeling yourself as a tree. So this is a way to use your senses to really anchor yourself and ground yourself. The next one, so I also there's a really good mountain meditation, and I'm actually I'll be recording a mountain meditation that I've kind of edited and made my own. And this is actually a MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction technique from John Kabat-Zinn. And this is a meditation where you are imagining yourself as a mountain. And this is also a really, really amazing one. So you can actually just do a YouTube search, a mountain meditation. That's a guided meditation. That's a really good one as well. So imagining yourself as any element, and look, there's mountains behind me. Okay. So the next one is, this is a visualization technique. So you can use the energy of the earth while you're sitting in meditation and visualize energy moving up from the earth and into your body. And I like giving it a color or a substance. or a texture even. So like this could be a very heavy substance. It could be darker in color or lighter in color or any color that you want, really. Anything that feels really, really grounded. So this is you are sitting in meditation, feet against the floor, and actually feeling that substance move up into the feet. The second one, which you can do a couple of different ways, is you imagine clear white light, or even I like imagining it as light. So like, and for me, it's like a mistier substance, or almost like ribbony, like golden swirling white light from the top of the head that moves down into the feet. And you can do this one opposite. You don't have to go from top to bottom. You can also go from bottom to top. Myself, I tend to be a little bit more ungrounded and unrooted. That's why I say oftentimes like my energy is like outside of my body, up above me. So I actually like going from the top down. For me, it feels more grounding, but you would have to do a little bit of investigation to see what's right for you. So this is something cleansing from the top of the body and working all the way down. And you can go at whatever pace feels good for you. I like going at a slower pace and start right at the top and feeling it just come down really slowly. You can even make it like a viscous type of texture in order to feel like, ooh, there's like slime working its way down your body. So the opposite way that I was saying is, so it moves up. So this could also be a misty white light, whatever color, texture, and viscosity really that you want to give it, you can use to help with grounding. So another way in which we can vent anger is to use vocal toning. This is my favorite one by far. Okay, maybe it's not, but it's up there. So vocal toning, and this is like i.e. screaming into a pillow. I like to do this in my car. So vocal toning means you take a nice big in-breath and you let whatever the fuck sound, scream, grunt, cry come out. Now, you might take a breath and a really cute comes out. I'm always delighted at what comes out of me. It sounds like a horror show. Or you might take a nice in-breath. Whatever comes out. Oh my God, my kids are sleeping. Oh shit, don't wake up the kids. Okay, but sometimes it's a little bit more vigorous than that, or intense, and sometimes it actually surprises me of what comes out. And so, like I said, I like doing it in my car because I think this could alarm my family. If you wanted to do this in a pillow, you can do that as well. And you do this a few times. So like do it until it feels, so you're moving energy very, very strongly, and especially out like your throat and through your vocal cords, right? So while you do this, you can also be imagining Donald Trump's face, or, whoever or whatever you are raging about, right? So bringing a little bit of visualization into it can also help make it more focused. And so, yeah, I really like this one. And honestly, truthfully, sometimes it really is just a breath that's like a yogic type of audible breath. But truly, sometimes it's the start of a cry, actually, because it's moving that energy so strongly. It's like if those tears are living inside of you and this causes them to come up and out, like by all means, 100% cry those tears, babe. Okay, next is physical movement in the form of exercise. Now, physical movement helps to move stuck energy, especially the liver chi. And so I prefer sense felt movement. Now I'll explain. You could go for a walk and totally turn off your mind and maybe even your body to a degree. Like, it is mindless. You can just walk and walk and walk and just be completely dissociated. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about mindful movement where you're actually feeling your body, and you can even be visualizing the anger, whether it lives in your body, whether you're actually visualizing the place of where that anger is at inside of your body, or if you're actually like visualizing what makes you angry. You can do that in a few different ways. But I do think that sense felt movement is actually better than steady state mindless exercise. And even though both of those things move stagnant liver chi, the ability to move anger, it's more effective to be with your senses. This kind of goes along with exercise, but dance. This is probably actually number one for me. Turning on any type of music that makes you feel like you want to dance, or, actually, for my 30 days to her, I've been doing a dance practice. I thought about recording this for like TikTok. I'm like, does anybody want to see that? No? Okay. But some days it's like, okay, maybe I don't feel like doing it at first. You turn your music on and you're like, ugh, oh, okay. But eventually, for myself, I'll speak for myself, eventually something shifts about that. So dancing it out, moving your body in a way that feels good, that feels productive. And it doesn't have to be, in a sexy way. It could be like swinging your arms. It could be like moving your hips erratically, like however the movement wants to move. And you can even ask yourself, anger, how do you want to move in my body? You can dialogue with it. Anger, where are you? Anger, what do you feel like? Anger, how do you want to move? Taking it a step further, you could also do this through pen and paper or any type of medium, painting, drawing, coloring, of like anger. How do you want to express on paper? It might be scribbles. It might be an actual masterpiece of sorts. But you can do that through art as well. The next is physical massage, which we talked a little bit about grounding, but you can also use, and this is kind of like Qigong-esque, but doing some massage in through the ribs and the rib side is going to help you move liver chi, which is going to help you vent anger. So you can do this by using your arms, kind of squeezing your torso and move your arms back and forth. So I'm kind of using like the blade of my hands and arms, or you can put your fingertips inside of your ribs and you can just dredge up and down. That's another good one. And so this is using touch and using massage to help work with the liver, more specifically the liver channel. But when you work with the liver channel, you work with the liver chi. Okay. Next is physical touch. So this could be the form of like hug, kiss, touch, even just like hand on the shoulder. And like I'm not saying just a partner. I'm saying you do this to yourself. Put your hand on your shoulder. Feel the weight of your hand. Breathe with yourself. Be with yourself. And physically touch yourself. You can also do tapping practices. Gosh, I feel like I start talking in the list. It's like a continual list. It just goes on and on and on. It's like a menu. So if I'm saying something and you're like, ugh, that doesn't jive with me, there has to be at least one that you're like, mildly interested in, might try that. And the last one is laughter. And I think for me the best way is laughter with others, but I guess you could do laughter by yourself. So conjuring up anything that's funny or listening to like a YouTube video of something funny and just letting yourself laugh. Now, is this a form of dissociation if you're using like a pre-recorded Netflix special? I guess you could argue that. But to me, I think just even laughter helps to move stuck emotion and anger. You know, there's a really sweet book called, what is it called? Burnout? I gotta look it up. It's a book by Emily Nagoski. Oh, it's a really good book. It talks about just the patriarchy and it talks about stress cycles. The reason why I think this book is so amazing, now I'm Googling it. Emily Nagoski, Burnout. I want to get the name of it for you. I think everybody should read this book. Okay, it's called Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. And this is by Emily Nagoski. The reason why I love Emily Nagoski's work is because she talks about the stress cycle and completing the stress cycle. So a lot of people have this correlation or think that when they are not stressed, their body will then not feel stressed. Okay? And those two things are different. Like your body can be stressed and your nervous system can be activated without the actual perception of stress. So she talks about ways in which to complete the stress cycle in order to have your mind catch up with your body. Now, not surprising, many of the things that I am talking to you today, which are TCM, but also other things that I've learned throughout the years, are part of her book, and she expands on it more. So if that's something that you are interested in, highly recommended, get her book. It's called Burnout. So I hope that you can tune into your anger. I hope that you can try to not be afraid of your anger. You know, anger comes in many different forms. It comes in rage. It comes in irritability. It comes in frustration. It comes in a lot of different forms. And I think that if we can be unafraid of our anger and really try to dissect and understand it, even just maybe even not understanding it, maybe that feels like too much action. If we can just make space for it, let it breathe, open it, put it in a container that kind of is like a balloon that you're inflating. Let it open, see what it, have curiosity about it. I think that is the way in which we move forward. And we become a little bit more intimate with ourselves and our senses and our emotions. Because if we just continually just shut ourselves down and we're feeling angry, but we don't actually vent it, illness, and it compounds, like frustration that starts off as frustration that isn't vented turns into rage, right? It's like there are levels. So if we can cultivate ways in which we're with ourselves, we become closer to ourselves, this can be really, really helpful for humanity, just in general, helpful to the world. Now, I understand how that might sound very positive Polly if you're somebody who feels hopeless. But I will say that even any type of interest or introspection of yourself is going to help your body start to move stuck emotion. You are not broken. You are not broken. So, and your body is smart, and your body is smarter than your mind. So if you start to just turn a little bit towards yourself with curiosity, your body will start the process. It's not something that you have to do mental gymnastics to try to figure out how to do, your body is really, really smart. And if we can remember that our body is smart, it almost, for me, helps to kind of alleviate the mental gymnastics, or alleviate the things that you think you should do, right? Because it's like your body is smart. Your body is going to inform you when you do any of these practices, how it goes for you, how it feels for you. And if it's a hell no, then pick a different one. I like saying that not everything should be for you, right? You should look at it like a menu, and you should choose what feels good to you. And that is always going to be the right answer. It might be the right answer for the day, right? Or the week or whatever. And it can change. It can change. So I might be forgetting things, but I feel like there's a pretty good amount of information about anger and how to move anger. And yeah, I love talking about this stuff. And actually, I want to just say that some of these techniques are not specific to anger necessarily. I mean, yeah, some of the ones that are like dredging the liver channel, like obviously, but grounding, any type of sense felt work, dancing, or physical touch, it can help you with all emotions, not just anger. So if you're like, you know what, Dee, I'm not angry about this election. I'm fucking fearful. I'm terrified. These can help with that too. Because you are not a robot, and your body is not just a static thing. It's all related. So even if you do some of these and it's specifically working on the liver, you're actually just working on the whole body. How amazing, right? And I was kind of laughing because when I was going back through some of the grounding techniques, and it's talking about the tree person, I was like, how perfect. I just got my tree lady tattoo finished. Let me show it to you if you're watching this on Spotify. Oh my God, she's fucking beautiful. So happy with how it turned out. So she's literally tattooed on me this grounding technique that I just taught you today. One more thing. Another way that can be helpful is to find like-minded individuals and to start actually putting your anger and your energy towards inspired action. So inspired action means that you're constructively going towards some type of goal with like-minded people. So, join the support groups, join the walks. If there's marches or there's any type of activism, going on that feels good to your system, it helps to it helps to move that energy towards something that is constructive, and something that is outside of yourself can also be very, very helpful. So that's not one of the, specific techniques, because many of these techniques are centered on you in your body, but working towards inspired action can actually be really, really helpful with that feeling of helplessness or, discomfort, or kind of agita is what I like to say. So you could give that a try as well. Like I said, there really is the only wrong answer is to dissociate, is to redirect it to an unsuspecting victim, or to pretend you're okay. Those are that's the only wrong way. That is all I have for you today. And I thank you so, so much for joining me. And, to anybody who leaves me a review, thank you so much. I'm really grateful to, have this platform and talk on this microphone. And it's something that I really don't take for granted. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next episode.